So, remember how the Santa Claus turned this guy into Santa? Well, just when he got the hang of the job, a desantification process begins, but we'll get to that later. And that's why today in Flick Summary, the Santa Claus 2. This holiday classic opens with Santa's workshop getting attacked by a plane. Why? I still don't know, but what can I tell you? As the workshop attempts to fly away unnoticed, I didn't even know it could fly, Santa instructs the elves to keep it as quiet as humanly possible. But one particular elf, Curtis, isn't even aware of what's going on, and he accidentally played Santa Claus is coming to town loudly, alerting but at the same time confusing the clueless plane. Once Santa and his helpers find Curtis, they immediately stop the music and manage to get away from the attackers. Don't worry though, this isn't relevant to the plot. Just as they are finally safe, Bernard, the head elf, asks Curtis to tell Santa about a thing that's going on, but obviously we don't find out until a little bit later. We then cut to Charlie, Santa's son if you don't remember the first movie. He is breaking into the school and having a girl help him commit acts of vandalism. He is painting graffiti on the school walls that are a direct attack on the principal, who unfortunately catches him right in the act. Pretty sure Santa won't like to hear about this. Kids these days, I tell you. Back at the North Pole, Santa is ecstatic about the elves' hard work, as he praises the job they've done with the toys. After some of the elves play a prank on him, instead of getting upset or worked up over it, he just tells them to play a game of football, so they can pay for their joke, all in good fun, of course. He trash talks with his helpers, which is a bit of a rare sight to see considering that it's Santa we're talking about.
Who you calling pork chop? Meatloaf?
Meatloaf? I'll talk trash with you.
As soon as the football game is finished, Bernard and Curtis set Santa apart to tell him the thing they wanted to tell him earlier. They show him the naughty and nice list when he encounters a familiar name under the naughty category.
It's Charlie.
Sheen? I thought he straightened out.
You see, his son Charlie has been a little more ill-behaved than usual and has landed a spot on the naughty list, which obviously upsets Santa, but that's not the end of the bad news. Let's go back in time a little right when Scott Calvin, our main guy, turned into Santa. You see, this whole thing happened over an accident that occurred on Christmas Eve that left another Santa person wounded. Scott put on the suit, used the reindeer, and by law he had to turn into Santa Claus, as explained in the Santa Claus. Well, there's another clause Santa wasn't aware of, and it's the Mrs. Claus clause, which states that if Santa is not married, he can no longer be, well, Santa.
I gotta get married! Yes, it's the Mrs. Claus.
To make matters worse, he's losing quite a lot of weight, and his beard is growing smaller and smaller by the second, which sends Curtis into a full-blown panic.
Oh dear, the desantification process has begun!
After these shocking news, Santa has to deal with the legendary creatures meeting, where he talks to the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, and basically any iconic creature you can think of, which is kinda cool to have them all together in one place. Anyway, Santa realizes he has to return home to straighten Charlie out and find himself a wife before Christmas, so he can remain in the role of Santa. In order to keep the helpers calm, Curtis invented a machine that can clone just about anything, including humans.
60% of the time, it works every time.
He hopes to have the elves believe the clone version of Santa is actually Santa, while the real Santa is doing whatever needs to be done back in the human realm. Geez, how complicated. Seeing he has no other options, he agrees to get cloned, which isn't that much of an exact clone, I'd say, but I guess it will do the trick for now.
Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho.
Not bad.
Not bad yourself.
As the real Santa prepares to leave, Bernard blatantly lies to the elves in order to keep everything at bay and avoid a panic, telling them that Santa decided to change his look up a bit.
I myself think he looks absolutely terrific. Better and fresher somehow than he has in years.
Before leaving, Bernard gave Santa a magic watch that lets Santa know how much magic he has left in order to return home with Comet, the reindeer. He has to limit his use of magic during his stay home to be able to come back to the North Pole. With that, Santa is off to the land of the free.
I am going home.
As you may have expected, the very first thing Santa does is visit his son and attend a citation from the principal, given the vandalism he committed the night before. There, we reunite with Laura, Charlie's mom, and Santa's ex-wife, and Neil, Laura's husband. She's absolutely marveled over Santa's perfect timing and is shocked that he always knows exactly when to show up.
You always know when there's a problem.
Well, I see you when you're sleeping. I know when you're awake.
Which is a pretty frightening concept when you think about it.
You're certainly not wrong there, Neil. The family meets with a Principal Newman who apparently Santa doesn't like at all, as she lets them know that if Charlie's behavior persists, she will have no other option but to suspend him, which is a smaller punishment than what I expected, to be honest. All the while, Bernard and Curtis are trying to train the clone Santa to be the Santa they knew, giving him the Santa handbook so he can know all the do's and don'ts, which he is excited about due to his love for rules.
I'm scared.
Strange, but okay. Back to the real Santa, he is telling the family the news about losing his position as the very soul of Christmas if he doesn't find himself a wife within the next few weeks, which is a little impossible in my humble opinion, but Charlie encourages his dad to remain hopeful.
Don't give me hope.
Surprisingly, Santa hasn't even addressed the fact that his son is on the naughty list, but whatever. Laura sets up a date for Santa, who is already looking almost nothing like the stereotypical Santa, losing the weight and the beard that make him the iconic character he is. That desantification process sure is fast, huh? At the date, Santa meets with a woman he hopes to marry almost instantly, only to have her be a train wreck of a person.
The best thing about singing at Christmas.
Well, that's the end of that relationship. The next day, Charlie finds himself in trouble yet again from the school principal, who has found yet another graffiti in the lockers. She cites Santa for a school meeting to let him know about Charlie's behavior. She tells him that he will be suspended, but Santa begs her to switch the punishment to community service instead of suspension, which she surprisingly agrees to. We once again cut to the clone Santa, who is shocked that children behave so poorly, insisting to give all of them a piece of coal so they can learn their lesson. Curtis realizes his mistake of trying to clone Santa as Bernard scolds him for allowing this to happen in the first place. Relax, Bernard, he knows he made a mistake, okay?
Take a chill pill.
We then travel back to the real Santa, who is dropping off Charlie to get community service done. There, he runs into Principal Newman, who is showing a less strict side of her that Santa feels attracted to. In fact, that very same day, later in the night, Santa decides to drop by her place and ask her out on a very tempting date.
Do you want to go get some noodles? Or pie?
She tells him she has an office Christmas party, but would like him to join her, which Santa gladly accepts. He decides to use some of his magic and have Comet the reindeer be their means of transportation.
I want one.
His magic gauge drops quite a bit, but nothing to worry about for the time being. While they head to the party, Principal Newman is absolutely enthralled over the reindeer, as she tells Santa who she believes is God, her experience with Christmas, and how happy he made her as a kid. She retells the story of a baby doll toy he got for her one Christmas, and how that particular present made her always want to believe in Santa. Well, I guess she's in luck, huh? Once they arrive at the party, Principal Newman and Scott, realize that it's a total snooze fest, but Scott wants to play it cool for now.
It's a great party. Look, that guy moved.
He decides to take matters into his own hands and be the life of the party himself, using quite a bit of magic to create Christmas presents right on the spot for every single person at the party. Of course, Principal Newman doesn't get left behind, as Scott gifts her the baby doll toy she told him about only moments earlier. As the party soon comes to an end, Scott drops her off at her place and the two share a kiss. Aww. Back at the North Pole, we once again encounter the nightmarish version of Santa Claus, who is starting to look alarmingly like a dictator.
Merry Christmas! Ho, ho, ho!
Only to explain that if any of the elves decides to defy him, he will have an entire army of toy soldiers that will know exactly what to do if that happens.
Couldn't sleep. Milk wouldn't do it. Cocoa was a little sweet, so I decided to make an army of toy soldiers.
We return to Scott, who, given the short time he has to find a wife, decides to come clean to Principal Newman about his identity.
I'm Santa Claus.
What?
The suit. The red suit's real.
The North Pole is a place.
Unfortunately, she thinks he's mocking her for telling him the story about her always wanting to believe in Santa as she kicks him out of her house. I mean, I'd understand her if he hadn't made toys appear out of thin air the night of her office Christmas party, but sure thing. Back home, Scott has a talk with Charlie about his behavior as he confesses that it's hard not to tell anyone that his dad has the coolest job in the world, being Santa. He admits that's the reason he's been acting out and storms out of the room. Poor Santa can't catch a break, huh? Due to the current situation back at the North Pole, Curtis decides to make a quick visit to Santa to check on the wife's status and see if he can come back to the North Pole as soon as possible. Once they meet, Santa sadly admits that he has used all of his magic during his stay and isn't sure how to get back to the North Pole.
Why are you the way that you are?
Curtis reminds him that he has Comet with him, but as it turns out, Comet has eaten too much sugar and is unable to fly at the moment.
Who did? A squirrel?
Remembering the Tooth Fairy has wings, Santa attempts to have one of his teeth removed to have him appear, but right before it happens, much to Santa's luck, Laura's daughter Lucy lost a tooth that very same day.
Oh, thank God.
At night, when the Tooth Fairy enters the house, Scott tells him that he is Santa and even manages to prove it, convincing him to give Santa and Curtis a ride back to the North Pole. Score! Unfortunately, when they get there, they are greeted by the dictator Santa and are immediately apprehended, claiming that he will not let them stop him when he has coal to deliver. How nice! While this is happening, Charlie has a change of heart as he is no longer upset with his dad as he tries to help with Principal Newman back. Somehow, Charlie and the principal get a hold of the Tooth Fairy as well and catch a ride once again to the North Pole. Poor guy, man. One would think he's a taxi of some sort. Fake Santa embarks on his quest of delivering coal as real Santa attempts to stop him with a reindeer that can't fly all that well.
Well, that's just great.
Oh, and the elves are trying to fight the gigantic toy soldier too. Santa manages to make fake Santa fall right outside the workshop as the elves attack yet again. Fake Santa and the toy soldiers are out of the game, but we still have one thing to solve, the Mrs. Claus. Thankfully, now the Principal Newman is at the North Pole, Santa can propose and only hope she agrees, which she does, of course. They quickly get married and Santa is back in his usual Santa's Q form, heading out to deliver presents and happiness to the children. The end! Oh, before you go, if you're wondering if Charlie got any presents because he was in the naughty list, well, let me tell you, I have no idea. They never made that bit clear.
I'm so damn confused.
And that's all for today. Make sure to stay tuned as we'll be doing the Santa Claus 3 very soon. For now, let us know in the comments what you thought of this movie, and as always, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with your friends. See you next time!